There's a big lie being told in real estate, and that big lie is being told thousands of times every day by well-intentioned people. This lie has been told and perpetuated for the last 25 years by so many people that few people actually stop and think about it. You want to know what that big lie is? That big lie being told is that homes in an HOA are more valuable than homes not in an HOA, and that HOAs improve the value of homes. This lie first gets told by sales agents who work for big builders. It's the same big builders that originate HOAs for new housing projects to ensure their control over it. It's all part of the sales pitch. It's a lie that many homeowners in HOAs succumb to through sheer repetition. They perpetuate this lie when they own the home and then later sell the home. They don't embrace this lie because of nefarious reasons. They support the lie because most don't know any better. It's a lie that is told by zealous HOA board members and the management companies they hire. The same management companies that carry out overbearing rules and fines on homeowner members in an effort to bring them into compliance. No matter how many horrific HOA stories are reported in the news, the narrative always stays the same.
HOA neighborhoods are better and more valuable than non-HOA neighborhoods.
The purpose of this video is not to create hostility against HOAs. The purpose of this video is to give a counterbalance to the notion that HOA homes and HOA communities are somehow superior and more valuable than their non-HOA counterparts. Now, before you pass judgment, I ask that you hear me out. Over 20 years ago, a friend of mine, who I will call Marie, got her real estate license and started working for a big builder to sell new homes. She's very good at what she does, and she still sells homes for big builders to this day. She told me then how she thought new homes in HOA communities were better and more valuable than homes in non-HOA communities. Even back then, I was initially skeptical of this claim. The reason why I was skeptical was based on my own experiences in the Orlando, Florida area where I grew up. When I was growing up, I saw the middle-class homes we lived in greatly appreciate in value over the years. Over time, the homes we lived in slowly attracted more affluent buyers. Gradually, they became upper middle-class neighborhoods. And when those buyers moved in, they would often improve their homes in creative ways. Without an HOA imposing narrow architectural and home design standards, proud homeowners updated and remodeled their homes in interesting, creative ways. No one we knew was upset by these creative home designs. It was well accepted that every homeowner could do whatever they want with their homes because they bought it and they owned their homes. However, somewhere over in the last 20 years or so, the narrative that homes in a neighborhood that are similar to each other and have cookie-cutter designs are somehow more valuable than homes with dissimilar homes took hold. Give me a break. To be fair, one of the biggest things HOA communities offer that non-HOA neighborhoods don't are amenities. There is no denying this. In an HOA community, you might have a clubhouse, tennis courts, basketball courts, swimming pools, exercise rooms, security gates, and monuments with manicured entrances are certainly valuable perks for many people. But for people like me, I don't see amenities as a feature. I see most of them as an unnecessary expense that I have to pay for, even if I don't want it. I don't get more house due to those amenities. Speaking of amenities, my cat Lexi invites you to swipe that like button to help YouTube share this video with others who want to learn the truth about HOAs. And if you hit that subscribe button, you can stay updated and I will make sure Lexi gets a special treat. In terms of age of homes, I think there are many situations where older homes were better built and sturdier than newer wood frame homes of today. In terms of construction sturdiness, newer isn't always better. And quite frankly, what's better and more valuable to a homeowner is often subjective. When I refer to value in this video, I refer to fair market values for homes, not subjective value. All homes, regardless of HOA affiliation, are quite valuable in the real estate marketplace. In some areas, homes in HOA communities may in fact be higher priced than their non-HOA counterparts. Likewise, there are just as many, if not more, non-HOA homes in older neighborhoods that are higher priced and more valuable than homes in HOA communities. As it stands today, being a homeowner of a single-family home is not cheap. It's downright unaffordable for many people today, which is why renting homes continues to be so popular. Even without an HOA, a homeowner has to pay a mortgage loan, property insurance, property taxes, utilities, special assessments, yard maintenance, and home repairs. And on top of all this, you have to abide by your local laws, which is enforced by code enforcement. But when you buy into an HOA community, you also buy into much more stringent rules and restrictions that is backed by the threats of fines and even lawsuits by the HOA. These threats don't come from City Hall. These threats often come from elected or appointed neighbors on HOA boards that often believe in aggressive enforcement of HOA rules and restrictions. Of course, not all HOA communities operate that way, but it depends on what neighbors get elected or appointed to the HOA board. Gosh help those homeowners who end up with heavy-handed or power-hungry HOA board members. I don't know about you, but I've never been comfortable with this concept. And while HOA board members are technically unpaid, there is an entire HOA management system that requires homeowners to pay into every year. There are a lot of costs and expenses to support HOA communities. How they are paid for come from the annual HOA membership fees and fines that are collected from homeowner members. I tend to view these membership fees as an additional housing tax on top of the mandatory county property taxes for the privilege of living in these HOA neighborhoods. I've never liked the idea of any private party telling me how to manage or maintain any property that I own. I know I am far from alone in this notion. I'm also not crazy about any government agency telling me what to do, but most of us reluctantly accept that City Hall is a necessary evil. Most people tend to view HOAs as an elective option. Let me be clear, I am not an anarchist, nor am I a rebel. I am a pragmatist. I believe in being a good neighbor and getting along with people whenever possible. However, there is a difference in my willingness to be a good neighbor versus having fellow neighbors on an HOA board with the legal power to impose overbearing rules, fines, and lawsuits on me if they don't like what I'm doing. If you already live in an HOA community, you know what I'm saying is entirely true. If you have never lived in an HOA community, I imagine you are cringing and repulsed by the idea of buying a home and living in an HOA community, and I wouldn't blame you. As a side note, I have a lot of random commenters who like to drop by my videos about HOAs and say,
the easiest way to avoid HOA problems is to never move into one.
However, that doesn't work if someone has already bought a home in an HOA community. Buying and selling a home is not like buying new clothes or a new phone. It's a pretty major transaction in life. Telling people to simply not move into an HOA community is a simplistic and naive view of buying homes, especially in today's real estate marketplace. It used to be true that you could find non-HOA homes to buy and live in, but over time, especially the last few years, non-HOA homes are very hard to find. It can lock you out of a section of a city or even an entire city area if you don't consider HOA communities. Even if you are determined to find a non-HOA home to buy, you either won't find many available or you won't be able to afford them. Non-HOA neighborhoods provide much more design and architectural freedom to have individualized and customized homes that would never be permitted in an HOA community. I've seen entirely new non-standard customized homes constructed on vacant lots in highly desirable neighborhoods. Because of this, I would argue that for many people, non-HOA homes in older neighborhoods are often more valuable than typical HOA homes, if they can even afford to buy them. There is a big segment of the population who would never consider buying a home into an HOA community unless they were forced into it. When I say someone is forced into buying into an HOA community, it means that the real estate market has so few available options that people are compelled into looking at HOA communities. Builders are generally the only ones creating new houses. Before they break ground, they always lay the groundwork to establish an HOA. Builders do this to make sure they keep tight control over the neighborhood, its pricing, and the conduct of new homeowners who choose to buy and move in. Today, almost every home buyer and homeowner has heard or experienced an HOA horror story. Everyone hopes it doesn't happen to them, but an HOA horror story happens to someone somewhere every day. For people who continue to say that HOA homes are more valuable than non-HOA homes, it's often a lie that is not backed up by the data. If you are currently living in an HOA or looking to move into an HOA, I highly recommend you watch this next video.